Air hangs thick and cold, smelling of damp earth and decay. A lone flashlight beam dances over peeling wallpaper, revealing shapes that morph into grotesque faces in the shadows. Footsteps creak from the floor above, too heavy to be the wind, too slow to be an animal. A whisper, faint but clear, snakes down the stairwell, calling a name that isn't ours. What ancient darkness just stirred awake? Welcome back to Room Beneath. Before we begin, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories. Tonight, we delve into a tale of urban exploration gone terribly wrong. A story whispered in hushed tones about a place where the veil between worlds is dangerously thin. The rusty gate groaned a protest as Liam pushed it open, the sound echoing ominously in the twilight. Chloe adjusted her camera, its lens greedily swallowing the fading light. "Are we sure about this?" Noah whispered, his voice barely audible above the rustle of dry leaves. Liam, ever the leader, just grinned, his flashlight beam already cutting through the gloom of the overgrown path leading to the skeletal silhouette of the old Blackwood Manor. It was exactly as the urban legends described: derelict, imposing, and undeniably unsettling. Inside, the air was heavy with dust and the scent of decay. Moonlight streamed weakly through grimy windows, painting spectral patterns on the cracked plaster walls. They chose a large central room, its fireplace long dead, as their base. As Noah set up his drone for aerial surveillance, Chloe filmed the peeling wallpaper, narrating softly about the house's grim history. Liam, meanwhile, was meticulously checking every corner, his tactical flashlight beam slicing through the oppressive darkness. A silent testament to his underlying apprehension, despite his outward bravado. Hours passed, filled with the usual creaks and groans of an old house settling. But then came something different. A faint, almost imperceptible whisper slithered from the ventilation shaft, a sound like dry leaves skittering across a tombstone. Noah, already on edge, jumped. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice cracking. Liam paused his exploration, straining to listen. Chloe's camera, pointed towards the shaft, captured only shadows. The whispers grew, coalescing into what sounded like disjointed fragments of a mournful song, echoing from deep within the house's forgotten arteries. The singing stopped abruptly, replaced by a chilling thud from upstairs. Liam gripped his flashlight tighter, moving towards the stairwell. "Stay here," he ordered, his voice low. But before he could take another step, Noah's drone, which had been exploring the upper floors, suddenly spiraled out of control. On his monitor, the last image flickered. A fleeting, shadowy figure darting across the dilapidated attic floor, its form indistinct, yet undeniably humanoid. Then, static. A guttural growl vibrated through the floorboards, emanating from directly above them. The guttural growl ripped through the oppressive silence, shaking the very foundations of the old house. Noah screamed, stumbling backward, nearly tripping over Chloe's camera bag. Chloe, though equally terrified, kept her camera pointed at the ceiling, her hand trembling. Liam, his face now etched with genuine alarm, gripped his tactical flashlight even tighter, its beam dancing wildly as he scanned the unseen menace above. The protective instinct surged, overriding his earlier skepticism. "Stay close," he commanded, his voice a low, urgent rumble, pushing them gently behind him as he aimed his light towards the shattered drone on Noah's monitor, then back to the creaking floorboards above. "What was that?" Noah whimpered, eyes wide behind his glasses. Liam didn't answer directly. His gaze was fixed on the darkened stairwell, a gaping maw leading into the unknown. He knew he had to go, had to confront whatever was up there, for their sake. Taking a deep, shuddering breath, he turned to Chloe and Noah. "I'm going up. Stay down here. Keep an eye on the monitor. Don't move." With that, he began his ascent. Each step on the creaking wooden stairs, a loud report in the suffocating silence. His tactical flashlight beam cut through the inky blackness above, revealing only more decay and shadows. Seconds stretched into an eternity. Chloe's heart hammered against her ribs, the only sound she could hear over Noah's shallow, rapid breathing. They watched the top of the stairs, waiting for Liam to reappear, waiting for something. Then, a faint, metallic clang echoed from the attic, followed by a choked gasp. It wasn't Liam's voice, but it was his gasp, cut short. A wave of dread washed over them. Chloe instinctively raised her camera, its night vision struggling to penetrate the gloom above. "Liam?" she whispered, her voice barely a thread. No answer, just the house breathing around them, a predatory silence now replacing the earlier growls. Suddenly, a dark, viscous liquid began to seep through the ceiling planks above them, dripping slowly, sickeningly, onto the dusty floor. It wasn't water. It was thick, black, and smelled faintly of decay and something else, something metallic. The air grew cold, heavy, pressing down on them. A low, guttural moan, closer this time, vibrated through the very floorboards beneath their feet, feeling like it was coming from the house itself. Chloe's camera, still pointed upwards, captured a fleeting glimpse of a grotesque, skeletal hand reaching down from the attic opening, its fingers long and bony, coated in the same black ooze. They were trapped. The black ooze splattered onto the dusty floor, sizzling faintly as it hit, a putrid smell filling the air. Chloe shrieked, recoiling instinctively, her camera still fixed on the skeletal hand that slowly, deliberately retracted back into the darkness of the attic opening. Noah stumbled backward, knocking over a stack of old newspapers, his breathing hitched and ragged. The moan from beneath them amplified, a deep, resonant hum that vibrated through their very bones, making the floorboards tremble. They were completely surrounded by an unseen, malevolent presence, the terror now absolute and undeniable. Panic clawed at them, overriding all rational thought. "We have to go," Chloe choked out, grabbing Noah's arm and pulling him towards the rotting wooden door. But as they reached for the knob, a sickening thump echoed from behind it, as if something massive had slammed against it from the other side. The door shuddered, a thin crack appearing near the frame. A faint, acrid smoke began to curl from the gap, carrying the scent of burning flesh. The house was no longer just creepy. It was actively hostile, sealing them within its suffocating grasp. Upstairs, a different kind of horror was unfolding. Liam lay sprawled amidst splintered wood and forgotten artifacts in the decrepit attic, his tactical flashlight having skittered away into a dark corner, its beam now uselessly illuminating a cobwebbed support beam. The metallic clang had been his high-powered tactical flashlight, the choked gasp his own as he was thrown backward by an unseen force. A shadowy, hulking mass now loomed over him, its form shifting and indistinct in the gloom, radiating an intense cold that stole the air from his lungs. He could feel its malevolent gaze, a suffocating weight pressing him down. Downstairs, the metallic tang in the air grew stronger, the low moan escalating into a mournful wail that seemed to rip through the very fabric of reality. The door behind which they were trapped began to splinter violently, wood groaning and tearing as if something immense was trying to force its way through. Chloe's night vision camera flickered erratically, showing only distorted, swirling shadows. Then, through the rapidly widening cracks in the door, a single, glowing red eye materialized, piercing the darkness with an infernal intensity, fixing its gaze directly upon them. It was waiting. The infernal red eye, burning through the splintering wood, seemed to bore directly into their souls. Chloe screamed, a raw, primal sound tearing from her throat as she stumbled backward, dragging Noah with her. The air grew thick with the metallic stench, and the mournful wail intensified, vibrating through the very floorboards, threatening to shatter their sanity. The door groaned again, more violently this time, and a larger section of wood ripped away, revealing a glimpse of the inky blackness behind it, hinting at the colossal, unseen force trying to breach their last defense. Upstairs, Liam fought desperately against the suffocating presence. The hulking mass, shapeless yet undeniably powerful, pressed down on him, draining the warmth from his body. He could feel ethereal tendrils of cold wrapping around his limbs, a crushing weight that pinned him to the floor. Through the shifting gloom, he caught a fleeting, horrifying glimpse. Not just a shadow, but eyes, multiple, glowing pinpricks of malevolent light within the darkness, silently observing, savoring his fear. His mind screamed for his tactical flashlight, but it was just out of reach, its weak beam a distant, taunting beacon. With a final explosive crash, the rotten door splintered inwards, fragments of wood flying across the room. The glowing red eye vanished, subsumed by the overwhelming darkness that now poured through the gaping maw where the door once stood. It wasn't just an empty hallway. It was a swirling void, an abyss of shifting shadows and the chilling scent of damp earth and ancient decay. A low, raspy whisper, impossibly close, slithered from the darkness. a sound that promised unspeakable horrors. From the abyssal darkness, a skeletal, elongated arm, impossibly long and gnarled, shot out with terrifying speed. It was coated in the same black ooze, its bony fingers tipped with razor-sharp claws. Before Chloe or Noah could react, it lashed out, not at them, but at Noah's backpack, tearing it from his shoulders with brutal force. The portable power bank, their only remaining connection to external power for Chloe's camera and Noah's drone, tumbled into the swirling void, swallowed instantly by the blackness. The entity's arm then retracted just as swiftly, leaving them stunned, vulnerable, and utterly alone in the darkness. The sudden, brutal theft of the power bank left Chloe and Noah reeling. They stared into the swirling void, now utterly bereft of their only remaining link to the outside, their faces pale with shock and despair. The metallic stench intensified, mingling with a new putrid sweetness that made their stomachs churn. The air grew impossibly heavy, a suffocating blanket that pressed down on them, stealing their breath and crushing their hope. The house seemed to vibrate with a triumphant, malevolent hum. Upstairs, Liam fought desperately to regain his footing, the crushing weight of the entity momentarily easing, only to resurge with renewed force. He scrambled, fingers scraping against the dusty floorboards, his gaze frantically searching for his high-powered tactical flashlight. It lay just beyond his reach, a faint, taunting circle of light against a cobwebbed beam. The multiple glowing eyes within the shadowy mass above him seemed to pulsate with a cold, ancient malice, tightening their grip, whispering unspoken threats directly into his mind. He could feel his strength waning. Desperation driving them, Chloe pulled Noah away from the yawning maw of the void. "There has to be another way out," she gasped, her voice hoarse with fear, her reliable digital camera still clutched in her trembling hand. They stumbled through the main room, heading towards a distant, grimy window, a faint sliver of moonlight offering a false promise of escape. But as they reached it, a sudden, violent gust of wind howled through the house, slamming the window shut with such force that the old glass shattered inwards, razor shards flying like shrapnel. The house was a living cage. The shattered window offered no reprieve, only a deeper sense of entrapment. As the wind died down, the mournful wail from the house intensified, coalescing into a horrifying, almost guttural roar that seemed to tear the very air. From the swirling void where the door had been, the shadowy mass began to coalesce, to form. It wasn't just a shapeless entity. It was something ancient, something monstrous. Its towering frame slowly emerging, skeletal limbs stretching, its glowing red eyes now burning with terrifying clarity, fixing their gaze on the two terrified friends. A single word, whispered by 1,000 voices, echoed through the chamber. Mine. The towering, monstrous entity, skeletal and ancient, fully emerged from the void. Its glowing red eyes fixed on Chloe and Noah, and the single, guttural word reverberated through the very foundation of the house, a terrifying claim. Panic seized Chloe. She tried to move, but her limbs felt heavy, rooted to the spot by sheer terror. Noah let out a choked cry, collapsing onto his knees, shielding his head as the entity's chilling presence washed over them, a wave of despair and cold so intense it felt physical. The air was thick with the scent of decay and putrid sweetness, a horrifying banquet for the monstrous being. Upstairs, Liam, battered and bruised, finally managed to push himself away from the shadowy mass, his fingers closing around the cold metal of his high-powered tactical flashlight. A surge of adrenaline coursed through him. He saw something in the flickering, distant beam of his flashlight. An old, leather-bound journal, partially buried under debris. With renewed determination, he grabbed it, the faint glow of the flashlight revealing faded drawings and frantic scribblings about a ritual, a ward, and the hungry earth. Downstairs, the entity let out a deafening roar, its skeletal hand lunging towards Chloe and Noah. Just as its claws were about to close around them, a blinding flash of light erupted from the attic, followed by a guttural shriek that was distinctly not the entity's. The monstrous form recoiled, momentarily stunned, its glowing red eyes flickering. Liam, having found a page detailing how to temporarily repel the entity using a powerful flash of light paired with a specific incantation, had thrown his flashlight, now activated, down the stairwell. "Run! The back way!" His voice echoed, strained but clear from above. This was their chance. Chloe, gripping Noah's hand, dragged him towards the back of the house, a forgotten pantry door creaking open to reveal a narrow, overgrown path leading away from the manor. They burst out into the pre-dawn gloom, gasping for breath, the chilling roars of the house fading behind them. Liam soon joined them, having scrambled down another passage, bruised but alive, the journal clutched tightly in his hand. They didn't look back. The Blackwood Manor, now just a dark silhouette against the paling sky, pulsed with a malevolent energy, its secrets resealed, but their lives forever marked by the terror they had faced within its forbidden walls. They ran, never stopping, until the rising sun blessed them with its reassuring, if fragile, warmth. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Room Beneath for more terrifying stories, and ring that notification bell.